Welcome everybody to this Omdia Fast Chat on Intel Granulate. My name is Michael Azoff. I'm Chief Analyst at Omdia's Cloud and Data Center practice. I cover all things software development, cloud native technologies being center at the moment. And my guest today is Jakub Sinkovic, Content and Brand Manager at Intel Granulate, who has been leading content and developer relations for many years with crucial roles in AdTech, EdTech, and DevOps technology solutions. Welcome to you, Jakub.
Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. So, Jakub, by way of introducing Intel Granulate to the audience, what makes this product different from the large number of other cloud cost solutions?
Yeah, so we're aware there's a ton of cloud cost solutions out there, and they all have different offerings. What makes us different is it's a few things. First of all, we optimize on the runtime level. On the actual application level, what we say is at the core of the application. So what we're doing is different from what the rest of them are doing. So when a company is optimizing using these other tools, they can actually find additional value when they use Granulate on top of them. So the second thing that sets us apart is that we're holistic. This means that we can optimize on Kubernetes, big data workloads like Databricks, on the runtime, and really for every major runtime, Java, Python, Go, Scala, we can offer value on all of them. And the last thing that I'm going to mention right now is we are enterprise ready, which means that our customers are finding value in 1 to 3 weeks, which is way faster than they can find with the other solutions in the market. You need to do 0 code changes, minimal R&D efforts are needed, barely any time from the DevOps team. And most importantly, for a lot of our customers is we're secure and we're very careful about data privacy, which is something that comes from us being held to the high standards of Intel, the company that acquired us just a couple of years ago.
So that's great. And I think one of the key benefits of Intel Granulate is that you don't need to be a specialist kernel engineer to get the most out of it, right?
Yeah, and it's really autonomous. So you get it, set it up, you activate, and the optimizations just happen. You don't have to be working on it manually. So your level of expertise really just needs to get to the point where you can activate it with our solution engineering team.
So how much can users save on their applications when they use Intel Granulate?
Well, officially we say up to 45%, but it really depends on the application. It could be more even, some 10%, some up to 60%. It really just depends on the application. But it's important to note that cost savings isn't the end of the game. Another thing that sets us apart is that we optimize through performance improvements. So you can take these optimizations and you can use them to improve performance metrics like latency, throughput, job completion time, or you can take the resources that have now become available and dedicate them to new applications, new features, new products.
Very nice. And what does the autonomous nature of your product mean for your customers?
Oh, it's huge for them. The autonomous and continuous nature of Granulate, it's often the deciding factor. So with their workloads being optimized automatically, that means that their developers don't have to spend all of their time manually configuring and retuning legacy workloads. They can spend their time doing things that, well, they're getting paid for, that they love, which is developing new applications, new innovations, new features, and at the end of the day, driving revenue for the company.
Very, very nice. So operations traditionally use manual settings, whereas Granulate can provide dynamic adjustments, which makes a big difference. I mean, you touched on that with the autonomous operation, but can you expand on that?
Yeah, so usually when a customer gets to the point where they're speaking to us, they're kind of mature in what we call the optimization journey. They've done all the best practices, used many of the FinOps tools, monitoring tools, the tools that come with their CSPs, and they're at a certain point. But a lot of those activities are manual. Like you're doing PGO, profile guided optimization, manual right sizing, cloud governance. Those are all manual activities which take up a lot of time. And that might work for smaller applications or smaller businesses. But when you're scaling and you're scaling fast, you really need that automation to make sure that your applications are running at their most efficient levels, their peak performance, even as they grow quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the scaling is a really big issue for those large organizations that have a lot of operations.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about Kubernetes, because that's clearly a very hot topic. Now, provisioning Kubernetes is a common problem. Operations are hesitant to touch original configurations. They have no transparency into resources actually being used. And Granulate can help with this, right?
Yeah, actually, we've got this solution called capacity optimization, which it really takes that to the next level. So customers, when they're using capacity optimization, first of all, they get full visibility into what's going on in their Kubernetes clusters. They could see where there's opportunity for optimization, just how many resources, CPU and memory they could be saving, and also what's the dollar value of what their savings could be. The second thing it does is it offers pod resource right sizing recommendations to make sure that the company could, if they just click accept recommendation, then it will allocate the appropriate amount of resources so that they're not over provisioning, they're not overspending, there's as little waste as possible. Just recently, though, we've released a new feature for the capacity optimization solution, which is our autopilot, which means that activate the autopilot, all of everything that I was just saying before with the recommendations, the pod resource right sizing, that's all automatically done continuously so that your Kubernetes is running at peak performance, using as few resources as possible consistently.
Right, and this also plays well with the let me get this word right, sustainability. We want to create a greener planet, so it does help in that way as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, for any type of workload, you really want to make sure that you're having as small a carbon footprint as possible. That's becoming more and more of a priority for enterprise organizations these days. They're noticing that in the cloud, they're actually having an impact on carbon, and they're looking for ways to minimize that impact. So yeah, Kubernetes, big data, backend, all the applications, that's very important.
So thank you so much, Jacob. You've been listening to Michael Azar from Omdia and Jacob Simkovich from Intel Granulate. Thank you so much, Jacob. We really enjoyed listening to you.
Thank you.
And listeners out there, if you would like to find out more, we have a link below and several additional resources you can download. Thanks for listening and have a good rest of your day.